Three league titles could have been won this weekend. Neil Critchley could have got top six. Well, one at the four happened, and it was the mighty Arbroath that won their league. Welcome back to Fog Football. It is the SPFL review show. Match day 33. What a belter it was for some teams. But you know what? I'm not going to celebrate too hard despite, stopping Aberdeen in their tracks. And
your team seems to like celebrating draws, so by all means, if you want to celebrate, go ahead.
If you can't see the difference between Bilbao and that Aberdeen game, then I don't know what to tell you.
Celtic 3-3.
That was a morale victory. I'll let you know that wasn't a draw.
Well, yeah,
that was a morale victory.
I can guarantee I was celebrating no draw on Saturday, that's for sure.
That's for sure, absolutely. Your team's at the windy at the door. Neil Critchley must go.
I think Neil Critchley needs to draw his P45 and fuck off as far as I'm concerned. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. First, we need to dive in to League 2. Ryan Porteous by name, Ryan Porteous by nature sent off here 2 yellow cards in the space of 5 minutes. Kind of ironic that he's called Ryan Porteous and he got sent
absolutely
off in 5 minutes. Like,
is Dick Campbell no too good for East Fife? Getting booked? What's he doing? No?
I mean, maybe, but here it was a win for East Fife, a decent win for them. Nathan Austin and Adam Laref there to seal the deal late on, gives East Fife a much needed win.
It's Austin.
Clyde won 4-1 in the next game, 2 early goals, nothing after that, so both teams having to settle for a point at New Douglas Park. Edinburgh City kept up their impressive season, a 2-0 win over Elgin, goals from Saeed and Innes, Big Innes. Gave them the 2-0 win. The referee's called Andy Gamble. I wonder if he likes a gamble.
Do you like a gamble?
Unfortunately, I do. Peterhead won, the Spartans nil. Win for Peterhead, 19th minute goal for Cameron Smith, gave them the victory. And finally, it was Stirling Albion 3, the boys in Stranraer 1. So there'll be no the boys in Stranraer, Clay.
Thank you, Stranraer. You see the effort that it actually takes to put that in? It's no worth it.
No, so just need Stranraer to lose every single week.
Hopefully,
and the way they're playing at the moment, that could happen.
Hopefully Clay Morrow doesn't make a return and mention all 42 teams in the fucking pyramid, or I'll be on my knees. But anyway, let's go into the League 2 table as follows. I mean, this one's not quite wrapped up yet at the top, obviously. It's a 2-horse race there. Edinburgh City, then you get Elgin City not long behind at the bottom. I mean, Bonnyrigg are pretty much down. Looks like that uneven pitch could be the end of them. But there's no much happening in League 2. I can't hype it up. I'm sorry, I've ran it.
I think Peterhead's going to win. I cannot see the top 3 positions changing at all. The only thing that could change would be 4th. And Elgin City, what an absolute failure this would be for them if they don't even get a playoff spot. Because remember, halfway through the season, they were right up there. Yeah. There was a 3-way fight between them, Peterhead and East Fife, but they have fallen off massively. And now they've got an opportunity to actually fall out of the playoffs, not just getting caught by Stirling Albion, but the Spartans as well. Outside chance. So very would be a bottle job for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the bottom, it's looking like Bonnyrigg Rose into it. It's I mean, they did get a points deduction.
Can Clay Morrow get relegated? Is there half a chance?
No, there's no chance. Mathematically.
No, it's 9 points. It's like, well, I mean, it's 10, but 9 available. You get the story, alright? You get the story. Anyway, let's move in to League 1. Arbroath got the job done. They won the league. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Do you not think, though, just before we talk about do you not getting a points deduction for an uneven pitch is bullshit? There's been worse crimes committed in Scotland that have resulted in no points deductions.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I mean, I kind of understand to a degree why it is unfair, but at the same time, I mean, Bonnyrigg Rose had to play on it, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is there not a case that it's actually affected them more because they play more games at it? Of course there's a case for that.
Well, people will spin, but they're used to it. But I mean, really?
No.
How uneven could the pitch actually be?
Are we talking like a 90-degree angle or what? I mean, of course we're not. It's ridiculous. I don't know, man. I don't really understand it. But anyway, it looks like they've been fucked. Arbroath 4, Stennismuir 0. Won the league in style. Alloa Athletic won against Annan Athletic. They were 9-10. Alloa Athletic, I bet them. Dumbarton 1, Cove Rangers 3. Inverness, Caledonian Thistle 0, Kelly Hearts 2. I bet Inverness. They beat me. And then Queen of the South 2, Montrose 1. Queen of the South were actually pretty good odds as well. We'll look at the league table.
You not like to mention any of the goal scorers? No?
No, I don't like mentioning any of the goal scorers when they cost me money. Alright? So obviously you didn't do a wee bet in League 2 because you went through every single one of them. There we go. Arbroath, first champions of the season. What have you got to say about Arbroath?
Best team in Scotland.
Aye, they are. It's a shame they're not on for a treble, but they're on for like a quadruple apparently.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Seeing you look at the goal differences, it shows you that these leagues are more competitive, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
For the most part, outside the top two and outside the bottom two, like no goal,
Even.
no goal difference is more than double figures.
Yeah. Which is to be expected, I guess, because they are just more competitive. I know you get teams that come down and come up in these leagues, obviously, like any other league, but there's not like Celtic to the 12th team in Scotland gap here by any means. Of course, there's never going to be that. It's virtually impossible. But who's disappointed you here? I think Inverness kind of went off the boil recently.
They got a points deduction for fuck's sake.
I had on points deduction my arse. But they looked like they were going to finish like they had half a chance of top four. Not too
Hold
long
on,
ago.
they would have finished. They'd be a point behind Cove Rangers right now with that points deduction. So
Hold on, they got it though.
aye.
But my point is, a couple match days ago they were looking good. Now they're looking shite. Real chance they could finish 9th.
No, I think they've done all right. I think you're talking shite there.
Nah,
Wasn't that long ago they were on the verge of getting relegated. So
Nah, I'm not convinced. I seen an article. Oh, Inverness on the rise again.
I was going to stay in the league, and I'm sure they'll bounce back next year if they're still around.
Rise above hate Inverness because I don't know. I think they've dropped the ball, man.
I think you've dropped the ball.
Why?
You're criticising them for managing to
No,
stay.
because they like no. But they've got to stay in this league. They've got to stay in this league for months.
What are you talking about? They've been in that relegation battle with Annan Athletic.
I'm not
non-stop.
I'm on about that 10th spot, right? They've been aiming for higher.
No, don't bullshit me. The 10 spots are relevant. Dumbarton have been relegated for pretty much half a season.
Yeah, that's my point. They've been relegated. Inverness, even if they finished 9th, would probably still stay up because they're better than every team in League 2.
Yeah, but it wasn't looking like it was looking like it was going to be touch and go, and now Inverness they've got themselves ahead of Annan, and I believe they will stay up. So you're talking shite.
I don't think I'm talking shit.
Nah, you are. Inverness have done all right.
No, but they were See about 5 match days ago, Inverness had a half a chance of finishing in the top 5, and the arses went.
Sure, I agree with that. I remember them. I remember them being down in the relegation zone. So.
But when back in December?
No, a few weeks.
Fucking big film man was polishing his dome back in December. Where's he?
Right, okay, fair enough.
Right, we'll move into the Championship then. Greenock Morton 1, Livingston 2. Title fight back on.
Maybe, Levy wins. Great for them. Montano, Scott Pittman. Great stuff.
Aye, great reading out their names there. Want to read out the referee as well while we're at it?
Aye, Ross Hardy.
There we go. Andrew Tate getting a wee yellow card there late on. Not quite, but Partick Thistle 1, Hamilton 2. Did not see that one coming. That's pretty much guaranteed Hamilton stay up for me.
Hold on. What was the reference you were trying to make there? It's not even spelt the same, the second name. And his first name's not
hold
Andrew.
on. We do the European Review show, and I call a team Phil Jagielka.
Nah, but that's a gimmick. That's a gimmick.
That's a gimmick as well, then. Fuck off. What? Maybe he's a lost tape, brother.
You are reaching here. First you throw Inverness under the bus. Now you're calling this guy Andrew Tate.
I'm reaching. What about the guy that said Livingston's in Edinburgh? Alright, what about that guy? Where's he? Is he sat beside me or is he somewhere else?
It's a stone throw away.
Well, that's a letter away from being the fucking correct spelling of Tate, isn't it? So, where do we draw the line? Here, Rangers are 16 points away from being in front of Celtic.
Alright, let's move on.
Right, what were your team? How many stones away are they from being in the top 6?
Fucking boulders and rocks and fucking
Yeah, right, anyway,
Partick 1, Hamilton 2. This was a dagger blow to Airdrieonians. I mean, we can sit here and say Partick are going to blow their playoff spot in here. Maybe they will, but Airdrieonians, I mean, their form has been good lately, and they were winning. In the end, they had to settle for a draw in this game, but the fact that both Dunfermline and Hamilton won and Airdrie didn't, that must be tough, and unfortunately, it's looking like Airdrie will now be relegated. Even though you could argue that a draw against Raith Rovers is a decent result, they just would not have been. Airdrie, I think, would have expected Dunfermline to probably beat Queen's Park, but they would have been expecting a Partick win here. It's a damaging blow. 3 points at this stage of the season is like gold.
I don't know if it was a robbery, but I witnessed a robbery in Partick on Thursday. 2 people didn't pay for their ticket on the train. They bounced, and the conductor was left on double one. Disgraceful, people bouncing without paying for their ticket, isn't it? Were you and Cameron, would you tout on them?
Aye. Well, no, but I mean, if they got caught, then fair play.
Yeah, I mean, I think touting's piss poor, like I do, but I don't like people who do it. It's pathetic. Well,
why should we pay though?
When they don't.
Aye.
That's it.
Which probably will effectively drive our prices up.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
Because I was sitting and I heard the conductor say something to them, but I wasn't really listening. I was on my phone. And they said something along the lines of, we'll pay, but it was like inaudible discussion. We'll pay at the next stop, sort of, and then they go off at the next stop. And they go off, and he looked through the window. It's like, we'll pay at the next stop. Well, why couldn't you pay now? Well, is the train going to wait? Will they go to the bank and come back with the £2?
Yeah, that's retarded. I've always wondered how that stuff works. So nobody says, "Oh, you can be fined." Is the conductor really going to force you to give you? And would you not just give fake information? How many people have actually gave their real information and accepted a fine for not having a ticket? Does that even happen?
Yeah, no, it's a lot. Yeah,
let's say a bunch of Neds got on. Are they going to?
That's pretty much what it was.
Are they really going to give their real names and addresses? Is the conductor supposed to demand that you hand over photographic ID or some shit like that? I mean,
the conductor can't. This is a conductor that was about 60 talking to like 3 guys who were like my age, 20s, early 20s.
See if they tell the conductor, "Away, fuck yourself" or something. What can he? Unfortunately, what can he do?
He's snookered. That's what happens. You know what I mean? Unfortunate.
It's a shite society we live in. I think if they want to issue fines and things like that, then I think they need to have some sort of police presence.
Yeah, but the problem is you do have stations where you need a ticket to get into them, but then you've also got stations which you don't, and that's how this system gets exploited. You get me? Not that people don't hop barricades and all that shite, but anyway, we'll move on. We'll hop on to the next game. Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 1, Chris Kane laying the smack down. I've said for weeks I think Queen's Park are down, and I'm going to stand by it. I think they'll finish 10th.
No, I don't think it's just too many games. Time's ran out.
Time's ran out. Well, speaking of time running out, if that Chris Mockery goal, got Airdrie the win, I think Queen's Park would have been down and out, man.
Definitely.
But
1 point's a big difference for 3. And
it is, and we'll look at that table right here, right now. Falkirk also drew on Friday, but yeah, I mean, 6 points is a gap at the top. They've won the league. Don't worry about it.
We'll go down to the bottom because I mean, Livy ain't going to be caught. Ayr, realistically, can't be caught. Partick though could be caught, and they'll just be grateful that Raith did not win. Morton, they ain't going to do nothing. They're kind of just in no man's land. Hamilton, Dunfermline, Queen's Park, they can all be caught still by Airdrie. But realistically, Hamilton are safe. As good as Airdrie have been, I don't think Airdrie are going to win 3 games in a row. And even if they do, Hamilton only need to win 1 game, and Airdrie can no longer catch them. So, that puts them in a good position. Dunfermline would need to pick up 4 points for Airdrie, and this is assuming Airdrie win the last 3 to not catch them. And Queen's Park would also need to pick up 4 points. Even if Airdrie win 2 games and lose 1, Queen's Park would technically only need a point, depending on how heavy they lose the other games. It's just very unlikely.
Although, next week, if Airdrie win and Queen's Park and Dunfermline both lose, different ball game, and I think we may as well look at that right here, right now. That's results, that's not the right thing. We want to go to fixtures. I believe Airdrie do play... Well, home to Greenock Morton, right? I would expect Queen's Park to lose. Dunfermline, I think, will probably beat Partick. It's between Airdrie and Queen's Park. That's what it is for me. Airdrie have got to throw everything at this game. Because I believe the next one after that for them is... Ooh, well, wait. Tell you what. Well, I feel like Airdrie... I mean, they'd probably take going into the last game having a chance, but I feel like for them to have a chance, they need to win the two before it. Because Air's a different ball game. But I mean, you look at Queen's Park there against Ayr, and who at Queen's Park at the last game of the season, home to Raith Rovers.
Who could be going for the playoff spot?
I think there's a real opportunity Queen's Park do go down, man.
Possibly, but I think Airdrie will need 3 wins, and I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, their away form has absolutely butchered them. Right, anyway, into the Premiership. It's kind of the forgotten game. 2:30 kick-off of Premier Sports. Hibs 4, Dundee 0. For me, the informed team in the league, I'm having no two ways about it, aren't they? As much as you don't want to admit it, and I don't really want to admit it, they are.
No, they are. I mean, that's really, you don't want to admit it. I say it all the time. They are the best team in the league.
We don't really want to, sing it loud and clear, like, but...
sing it loud, sing it proud. No, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm proud about it, but it is what it is. I mean, right now, Hibs are the best team in Scotland, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Celtic did beat them in the Cup, but in terms of this league right here, right now, they are on the longest undefeated run, and Dundee didn't really have a chance in this game. Kieran Boy, who I think was a questionable sign at the start of the year, did they not sign him for near $1 million? Am I getting that wrong? I think or is it a loan? I don't even know. Anyway, I think he's been really good the last couple of weeks. Easy win though in the end. Right, Aberdeen 2, Rangers 2. Big changes from Rangers in terms of starting 11. What do you make of Ross McCausland then? Has he done at Rangers? Because I think he's done.
Not good. Getting sent off in a 10-minute spell.
Needless.
Shocking. Aberdeen took a 2-0 lead. Clarkson and Pape Gay. But
6th time in 9 games, Rangers have been 2-0 down under Barry.
Which ain't good enough. That's a shocking statistic. But like Rangers have done quite a few times, they came back.
And what's incredible about that though? Yeah, like two of the other games were against Fenerbahce away and Bilbao at home.
Yeah, teams that you'd maybe expect them to.
What's the other game Rangers were 2-0 down then?
Motherwell.
No, the other one where they weren't.
Kilmarnock. Oh, the other one that we want.
Celtic,
aye.
So how crazy is that? So hold on, take away Celtic in 2 European games. The other 6 games was one against Fenerbahce, and then the other 5 were all domestically. That's crazy. I'm telling you, man. Like, see, Sky Bet have got the freeze option, and also Bet365's got the early payout where your team goes 2-0 up.
Might be worth betting teams that to play Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Igamani, I thought was good. Hagi came on. Didn't think he was that good, but he scored a good goal.
You'd wonder, could Rangers be doing some sort of corrupt betting or something?
So you never know. Right, the celebration police, let's get on to it. Well, two things, right? I thought the celebration was a bit weird. I get it. I'm happy that we managed to come back and not lose the game. But people got to remember, seeing the grand scheme of things, the league's been over for a long, long time. I think Rangers were celebrating this because Aberdeen fans were getting it up them the whole game. You've seen Hagi and Raskin give it to the Aberdeen fans for the end of the match when they finally got the goal with Hagi. But see Chris Boyd and Sutton, right? I think me and you have been vocal in actual favour of them, right? But do you not think it is beginning to get to absolute piss-taking levels now?
Aye.
Like, why can't they actually just talk about the game of football? Sutton's saying that the celebrations are pathetic, right? And then Boyd's winding up and he's like, oh, but the title's still alive. And he's like, oh, no, it's completely over. And it's like, but it stopped your wee party, innit it? And it needs wrapped in the head, right? Because this was a big game for Aberdeen. They were 2-0 up against 10-men Rangers, their biggest rivals at the end of the day. Great chance of continuing this battle for third, and they've drew. A game they should have won.
Garbage. I mean,
I know, but then you've got Boyd and Sutton talking about Celtic. Like, well, Celtic are irrelevant, right? I know you'd be like, going to win the league. I get that. But this game shouldn't be about the fact that Celtic didn't win the league. This game should be about the fact that Aberdeen were 2-0 up and fucked it.
Yeah, no, look, I get it. You're 2-0 down. You're a man down. To not lose with that position is decent. But at the end of the day, it's still 2 points dropped into it against Aberdeen. Yeah. I don't think either. Listen, Rangers should be happier than Aberdeen. but neither set of fans should be buzzing.
See, in the Premier League, right? Say Arsenal are playing Nottingham Forest, right? And Forest are 2-0 up. Right? Arsenal doing 10 men. They come back and draw 2 each. Are they actually talking about, right, in the punditry about, oh, well, at least that stopped the Celtic party? You know, and then is one of the pundits going to be like, oh, that's pathetic seeing Arsenal celebrate that draw? No, of course they're not going to fucking turn around and say that. It's pathetic what Sutton and Boyd are doing, man. You know what? We used to, like, have laughs about it, but it's got old. It's been 2 seasons yet, man.
Nah, I like it. Bring it on.
No, it's embarrassing. It makes the fucking Scottish game look pish.
I like it.
I like trolling, right? But they're ripping the pish out it. It's forced. It doesn't even feel natural.
Well, give me Boyd and Sutton over the boring commentators down south.
Yeah, I get that. But, well, I know there's a lot of shite down south, right? But we've admitted, I think Neil Lennon is probably the best pundit the Sky Sports have got when they use him. He's actually impartial. He calls it as it is.
And he actually breaks down games.
I like Neil McCann as well. Here, I think McFadden can spew a bit of shite, but he's not as bad as these two. I don't know what's going on, man.
I think
like
Sutton and Boyd, to me, they belong more on a podcast or a radio show rather than Sky Sports.
Yeah, but my point,
but like, you know the way podcast, like Clyde Super Scoreboard or the Big Scottish Football Podcast, they have banter.
Yes.
And I feel like Boyd and Sutton's relationship would be more suited to a football podcast rather than like a professional like broadcaster where you're there to be a pundit and break down the game. I mean, who would not listen to a Boyd and Sutton podcast? I would.
No, I know.
It's my favourite podcast of the week.
My problem is, so it's like, does Boyd truly fucking... there's not one part of him, right, that's honestly happy about him turning around and saying, well, at least Celtic, at least you didn't have your wee party today. Yeah, but guess what, Boyd? He's going to have the fucking party in 2 weeks' time when they beat Dundee United. What is the difference between Celtic winning yesterday and winning it in 2 weeks' time? They're still going to win.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit...
I know he doesn't think like that. He's just doing it to get views, get clicks. And yeah, we made a fid on it, right? And we got views and clicks off it. But I even said in the fid, man, it's pathetic, it's pish. We'll move on. Some good goals, a bit of drama, decent game. Right, Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 0. Game at St Johnstone. I mean, it's not that they necessarily need it to... I mean, they kind of need to win every game, but it's not a hammer blow, but it's a massive victory for Dundee United. Right, I think you need to talk about this one.
What is there to say? 0-0, shite game, never really looked like winning, just never really created anything. Craig Halkett playing up front at the end. Deary me. I mean, well, what are we fucking doing here?
What about him telling Craig Gordon to come back from one of the corners late on?
Yeah, that's another joke. And you know what? I this guy is so negative. I can't say we would have won if the St Mirren game didn't play out differently. However, I do feel like if St Mirren went 2 or 3-0 up, Hearts would have had a better chance of winning this because they would have knew that they had to win the game. I honestly think at times Critchley was settling for the draw because St Mirren were drawn.
No, but how pathetic's that, right? How many times have we heard players come out after games and say we didn't know what the score was in the other game?
Well, I mean, you can say what you want, but I do feel like there was just no urgency. No, and then obviously St Mirren got the goal late on, and then we're fucked, and then we bring on Craig Halkett.
Yo, I know it's top 6, right, and it's not quite title deciding shit.
You go out, see if it's in your own hands, you go out and win the game, you don't have to worry about what's happening.
Yeah, you're right, you don't piss about. No, that is why he's not good enough. That is why he is a small-time manager. That's why he should not be managing one of the biggest teams in the country. That is the fucking the pishest mindset I've ever heard in my puff.
I mean, 1 minute he's going for a draw. We'll settle for the draw because St Mirren aren't winning. Then St Mirren score, and then he starts pushing a wee bit.
Yeah, but not the funny thing is about that logic, right? Say St Mirren win 3-0, right? Motherwell then have got no chance, and Hearts have got every chance. But with the game at a draw, Motherwell are going to be going for it more. So why the fuck are you sitting back? Does he not realise that Motherwell can get top 6 as well? You're sitting back against a team that can literally get it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's his point. He's sitting back because he's defending, because he knows more. Well, to me, that buys more into the fact he's thinking, right, well, here, as long as we don't concede to Motherwell, we stay in front of them, we stay in front of St Mirren.
Yeah, but
it was very negative.
I get that, but it's like, say St Mirren, right, are drawn 2 each. Well, they were drawn 2 each like the 87th minute, then they scored. You're just in fighting pressure against a team that you could have went and attempted to blow away early doors.
Yeah, also, there was some shitey comments he made. He said something along the lines of the players should be proud that they they got down to the final day with an opportunity to get in to the top 6.
What?
Which is fucking embarrassing to hear anyone say that. It hurts. And then he said, like, when he was asked, is it going to be hard to pick the players up? He said, no, not at all. Because we've got a massive game coming up.
That he can't win.
But it should be. I mean, they've missed out in the top 6. That should be a hammer blow.
The only way it would be acceptable.
But he was like insinuating, nah, it's not disappointing at all.
The only way it would be acceptable if Hearts were on like the Hibs run right now, where they drew this game, but it's like, oh well, you know what? He's got a point. They were on that 20-game unbeaten run with like 15 wins and 5 draws. They just ran out of steam at the final.
Yeah, listen, see...
Hearts have been shite for 6 weeks.
Yeah, see the last 6 weeks, see if Hearts had done that when Critchley first came in, and then his form picked up and he just missed out, I think he'd be looking and going, oh, you know what, he was unlucky. He almost got Hearts into the top 6. Because, yeah, when he came in, Hearts were right down the bottom, and it wasn't looking good. But that's irrelevant, because once he came in, he got Hearts into top 6 and he wasn't able to maintain it. Very similar to Jim Goodwin 2 years ago at Dundee United. Came in, Dundee United were bottom of the league, and he managed to get Dundee United off the bottom of the table.
He got them to 10th at one point.
Yes, but then he lost all 5 games in the post-split. So you can't say, oh, well, here, they were bottom anyway. That's irrelevant. See, once you get the team into a good position, then you need to keep that position.
Yep. No, I totally agree
it's
with
like
that.
Clement. You could turn around and say, well, here, he was 7 points behind when he first came in, and he only finished 8 behind Celtic last year. But you could say, oh, he's only lost a point to Rodgers since he came in. Doesn't work that way, because they had Rangers 2 points in front at one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and it's just a defeatist mentality, man. Hearts are more than good enough to go and beat Motherwell, and his arse went.
Hearts should have kicked on. Hearts, I mean, at this point, Hearts should be on the brink of overtaking Aberdeen and Dundee United, but their forms went out the window.
Yeah, no, it's
Critchley's fault.
It's no good enough. Another big game let down for Critchley, right? Well, the game that ended it all, St Mirren 3, Ross County 2. Tell you what, you know...
Fair play to St Mirren. I like St Mirren. I like Stephen Robinson. Good manager, and you know what? Probably deserved to be in the top 6 more than Hearts do. So,
3 years in a row?
Yeah.
What do you make of the people bashing them celebrating that?
Who's doing it? Who's bashing them?
Just people in general.
They need to...
Like Aberdeen fans.
They need to fuck off, right? Because just because St Mirren are a smaller club, smaller budget, they've got lower expectations. St Mirren getting into the top 6 is a bigger achievement than Celtic winning the league. That's a fact. That is a fact. You look at the scale of St Mirren, you look at the size of Celtic. So St Mirren can't win a league. They're not in a position to win a league. They might never be in a position to win a league. So unless you're capable of winning the league, you shouldn't celebrate in football.
Oh, you're right.
Some nations can't win a World Cup, but they can attempt to qualify for one. Is celebrating qualifying for a World Cup supposedly a bad thing? Different clubs, different sizes have different expectations. St Mirren getting into the top 6 3 years in a row is incredible, and they should be celebrating it, and anyone running them down doesn't understand football. So what? You tell me that all 12 teams in the league are competing equally? They'll have an equal opportunity of finishing in first place?
I know, it's a ridiculous take, isn't it? It really is. No, it fucking is. I mean, people need to wake up. That's why, that's why people's expectations of Celtic, if you don't get at least a double, it's a shit season. Because they just are expected to win the league.
It's a bit different now because Celtic are so far ahead of Rangers, but let's say... I mean, Rangers are kind of used to being second now, but let's say that's not the case, and let's say Celtic and Rangers are 50-50 and they share cups and they share titles. None of them are celebrating second place.
No.
But if St Mirren celebrate second place, are you going to say that, oh, they're pathetic for celebrating second? Of course you're fucking not. Because they would have massively overachieved and almost, did the impossible. So different clubs have different expectations. It's like, Nottingham Forest and Man City are both they're in a battle for Champions League football. Nottingham Forest will celebrate that more than City.
Yep.
Does that mean they're somehow more pathetic? Not at all.
Not at all. But they want.
There's much smaller club, much smaller resources, much lesser squad. Their expectations aren't up there.
It's why St Mirren finishing 6th is better than like Rangers finishing 2nd. It just fucking is. It's the truth of it. Right, your wee pal Adam Adair didn't get a goal despite Celtic scoring 5. He was offside and then.
He cost Dyson made a hat trick, didn't he? Or was it Rio Hatate? Or was it Dyson made a goal? He cost somebody a goal.
He cost Maeda a brace.
Aye. Anyway, I thought Rio Hatate's best game in a while.
Yep.
A long time.
Shite.
I am surprised it only ended 5-1. I will say that. At 4-0, I was worried for Kilmarnock.
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are.
I was a bit worried.
As Ange would say, it's who we are, mate. But, Kelly.
And
really good goals in the game.
Kelly's had a lot of heavy defeats. I know this one's kind of acceptable because it's against Celtic at home. They can do this to teams, but I don't know. I think that Derek McInnes could be sacked if the bottom 6 post-split fixtures don't go his way.
If he stays up, he won't get sacked.
They've had some heavy defeats.
No, they have. It's been no good enough. I mean, they're conceding 5 in a lot of games, and
it just doesn't look. And I get it,
you can't concede 5 goals in a game.
It's bad. It's bad timing because you could argue, well, maybe if Celtic don't lose last week, maybe they don't come out and play like this and they don't beat them 5-1. But that's all ifs and buts at the end of the day.
Yep. And this leaves the league table looking like that. 15 points at the top, but there's a massive goal difference. So here, Boyd saying the title fight's still alive. What do you make of that? 42 goals behind. Is that getting overturned?
Imagine the scenes if this did get overturned.
Well, it's not happening, so we'll just be Imagine Dragons.
Like, it would depend on what Rangers do. But you would have to imagine that Celtic could concede the last 5 games. Take the 3-0 losses. They take a minus 15 goal difference. That brings them down to 60. Rangers would need to win.
But then Rangers was only 3-0 against Celtic. You know what I mean? So that's why.
So that takes that down to 20. So Rangers would need to win on an average of 6 goals in their other 4 games.
It's not going to happen. Yo. Say the gap was 14 points, right? Celtic could still forfeit them all. Rangers are not winning the final 5 games. They're just not good enough. Consistently.
No.
Right. Hibs sit 3 points clear of Dundee United and Aberdeen. I think that's pretty much wrapped up, but we'll know more in the coming weeks. St Mirren sit 6th. Wee bit depressing for them because it's great, but they're not going to beat anybody else unless there's a miracle ahead of them. Then you've got Hearts, wee bit depressing for them. And then you've got Motherwell. I think Motherwell are safe, but Kelly, Ross County, Dundee could all realistically finish 11th. St Johnstone, well, they just need to start winning games of football, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Time is running out for St Johnstone. Although, there is 5 games. Listen, St Johnstone have a chance. There's enough games, but we're getting to the point now where draws aren't enough.
Aye.
See, St Johnstone, they have to be. It's worth throwing the dice. There's no good points for St Johnstone anymore. They need to be going into the last 5 games. The mentality is win or lose, because that's the only thing that's going to get them out of trouble. They need wins. And they need them now.
They need them now, brother. Anyway.
But what they also need is, I think they need one of the teams above them. And I'm not including Motherwell or Hearts because that points gap, I think it's just too much. I think they need Kilmarnock, Ross County or Dundee to have an absolute stinker and not pick up nothing.
Aye.
Or at least, if Kilmarnock, County, Dundee to not pick up any wins, maybe a draw or 2 they could afford. But I'm looking at the teams above them. To me, it feels like 1 win for Kelly, County, and Dundee will put them out of place. I think they'll be out of touch.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
Now, Ross County are on a bad run of form.
Well, they are.
Kilmarnock and Dundee aren't exactly great. It is possible that one of those three could go winless in the post six split, despite playing against teams in the lower half. But for me, that's what St Johnstone need. See if all the teams above them start sharing victories against each other. That pretty much rules. It's a bit similar to Airdrie, isn't it? They kind of need it Hamilton or Dunfermline to just constantly lose. And unfortunately for them, they began to pick up wins here and there. Queen's Park's form's been shit. But for St Johnstone, that would be similar to, let's say, Hearts or Motherwell losing the last 5 games. Even if that happens, I don't see St Johnstone picking up enough points to overtake them. I think realistically, St Johnstone are catching Dundee, County or Kilmarnock, and that's who they need to, slip, make a mistake. Realistically though, the battle for 11th, I mean, nobody wants it, but it could go. I could see a world where Dundee catch Hearts. I don't think it will happen, but I could see a world. Motherwell, for me, though, definitely could finish 11th.
No, absolutely.
They haven't won since they beat Rangers.
I think St Johnstone's just got to win the first game of the split.
Take it a game at a time.
Yep.
And just win them all.
That's it, guys. Anyway, we'll be back very soon. European review show, post-split, fixture, look ahead, you name it, coming very soon. Till then, pooch.